Hello again, this is Fred Allendale with another video tutorial on the VRDz Event Staffing Board. This tutorial is going to cover the setup and use of the staff member HUD. This HUD is configured by the owner of the board and then copies given out as you desire to staff members. And that allows them to sign up for events and get event information remotely, whether they're in the same sim or a different sim, without necessarily having to visit the physical board. So this is very convenient for your staff people. So to set up the Staff HUD, we will first open the owner admin help note card. And this note card will scroll down to where it says ESB Staff HUD Setup. And so these are the steps. There's 7 steps here that you need to perform prior to passing this HUD to your staff members. The first item to set up is called the HUD passphrase, and it's on the main board's configuration note card. There's a separate tutorial we did on the configuration note card, so you might want to refer to that. So let's open the board and pull up the note card, configuration note card here. We'll move this over here where we can see them both. And on the configuration note card, we're going to scroll down to this area where it says HUD passphrase. Now, what you'll want to put in here where it has the words my board's unique identifier is any unique phrase that you want to uniquely identify this board. In some applications, there may be 2 or 3 boards that you've got resed, and for different types of events or different areas of the venue. So you want to make sure that the HUD that you give out is matched with a specific board. And this HUD passphrase is how you set that up. So I'm going to change the default that's in here. I'm going to make it something like video tutorial number 3, and we'll save that note card. Now we can close the note card now. That's all we need to do on the board itself. It's important, by the way, once you set this up, to not change this after you've given out the HUDs. If you do, the HUDs will no longer be able to communicate with this particular board. All right, the next step is to get what we call the ESB code from the menu. So that passphrase, along with some other information about the board, is set up into an encrypted code, which will then paste into the HUD, so the HUD will know which board to connect to. So we can touch the board's background anywhere we want and find this button called ESB code over here. We click on the ESB code and we'll open up a window in the chat here. This is done in private chat, so it won't annoy your neighbors. And here's the ESB code right here. So we'll make a copy of that by highlighting it and hitting Control-C. That'll copy it to our clipboard. And then we need to paste this code into the description field of the HUD. So let me close this. So we'll need to res up the HUD. And here is the HUD, the last item down here. And this can only be done while the HUD is resed on the floor. It can't be done while it's worn. If you try and change the description of something while you're wearing it as a HUD, when you just detach the HUD, it'll revert back to its original description. So you have to res it on the floor to make it stick. All right, so we'll zero in on this HUD. And it looks like it's facing the other way, so we'll just rotate it around so we can see it better. There we go. And then maybe get in a little closer to it. You'll notice above the HUD, it says locked right now in red text because this HUD remains locked until we complete the rest of the steps in the setup here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is on step number 3, we'll copy that ESB code from the nearby chat and paste it into the description field of the HUD. So we'll click on the edit window, the general tab, and here in the description you'll see it says paste ESB code here. So I've copied that code from the chat before, and now I'm going to paste it into the HUD. All right, so that completes the step number 3. Next, we have to set the next owner permissions of the HUD object and all of its scripts to no mod and no transfer. We don't want the staff members to be able to either change something in the HUD that'll make it stop working or break it, and we don't want them passing it along to anybody else either. So that's why we need to do this. So again, we'll open its edit window, go into the contents. Now there's a couple different ways you can do this depending on which viewer you have. So one way is we can, if we're using Firestorm, we can go into the permissions button here, and we can tell it to, we probably want to, it depends on what the default already was, but we want to check the script because we want to change the scripts. We don't care about the help node card. It can be full perm. But we want to make sure we change the next owner permission to copy only. Okay, and then we can apply this. Okay, and then we can double check just to make sure under properties that in fact the next owner permission now is copy only. It will be set to copy and transfer when you receive it because you'll need to have permissions to transfer it to your staff members. But this then sets it so that the staff member, once they receive it, being the next owner, they can't transfer it and they can't modify it. In addition to the scripts, you have to also go back to the general tab, and for the HUD object itself, make sure to uncheck modify and transfer. So now the HUD permissions are set up. That should complete step 4. Step 5 is we should touch the HUD to verify that it's no longer locked. So somewhere in the background of the HUD, we'll test it, and it will reset itself, and you will see that the lock goes away. So if the permissions have all been set correctly, it will show as not locked. If there's something incorrect, you should get a message saying what's wrong in your chat window. So then we're going to take the HUD back in inventory, but before we do that, we want to make sure that it has the name that we want. So I'm going to go into the HUD itself and delete this long suffix that's been put on it. It's just a reminder to change the permissions once you've done that. And you can name the HUD something else if you want to. This is just the default name. The name of the HUD doesn't really matter. All right, and once we've got it renamed, then we will take it back into our inventory. And we can see now it's up here. This was the original one that's not configured. This is the one that is configured. And we can see that it can be copy only when it's transferred to the staff members. Okay, so that completes the setup of the staffing HUD. Close the note card out. We'll readjust our view a little bit here so we can demonstrate how that HUD actually works. So I'm now going to add this HUD to myself. Normally this would be transferred to a staff member, so this is kind of the same thing the staff member would be seeing. And I've got myself entered as a staff member. I'm going to make the HUD a little bit bigger and move it a little bit so that you can see it better in the view. You should do this, make it the size that you want prior to transferring it, because it's being transferred no mod and the recipient won't be able to change the size. But for purposes of the demonstration, I wanted to make it a little bit bigger here. First, at the top of the HUD, you'll see a few little symbols here. The blue question mark, we'll click on that to get you the Staff HUD Help note card. The little down arrow here will minimize the HUD, make it a little bit smaller so it doesn't obscure your view. You can make it normal size again. And the X button will disconnect the HUD. You'll notice now when I wear the HUD again, it comes back to the last position and size that I set it to. Now I've set up a few different events here with different numbers of staffing, just so I can demonstrate a little bit how the HUD might work. So I'm going to open the local chat window, and I'm going to make the window a little bit bigger because we're going to get some messages here. I'm going to ask for an event list. So I'm going to click on this event list button, and notice that the board is connected. Let's try that again. There we go. By the way, I want to make sure to note that in this area here where it says connected to Event Staffing Board, if for some reason you don't get that, and you might not if it's in a different region, you will need to go to the region where the board is and let it connect. Normally it should connect okay from any region, but given certain things in Second Life, it may not always happen. So if it doesn't connect, and you wait a minute or so, because it might take a minute to connect, and you're in a different area, if it doesn't, go back to the region where the board is located, and it should, after a minute or so, reconnect. Okay, so we've now clicked on the event list, and we've got a list of all of the events that have some open staffing positions. And so you can see, for example, this square dancing event, the host position is already filled, so it says closed, but there are still openings for DJs and dancers. And then it gives you instructions on how to sign up. So you can, from your HUD, you can click on the select an event, and you'll use this event ID number near the top to select the event you want to sign up for. And you can also do it directly from the board, like we talked in one of the other tutorials, simply by clicking on this link, and it'll teleport you to the board, as opposed to this is the actual location of the event. Okay, so let's say we decide I want to sign up for the square dancing event to staff that. And I need to make sure I'm qualified for the DJ role or the dancer role, because those are the only two that are open. So we'll click here now on Select Event, and in this box we enter the event ID number, which we got from the top of the event information. And now we get more details on that particular event in the window, as well as a pop-up here that lists the 3 possible positions that I could sign up for. Now, let's say I want to sign up as a host. So I'll click on that and click on sign up. And down here in the left box at the bottom, you'll see, sorry, this role is already fully staffed. So let's select that event again. And let's click on the DJ role. And we'll sign up for that. And it looks like I've signed up because I've now got a confirming message. So when I click on this message light, it'll say event staff sign up confirmation. It tells me what I signed up for and advises me to make sure that I'm on time. So I'm now signed up for that event. I could also, if I want, I could also withdraw from the event. Simply by going to that DJ role again and withdraw. And now it gives me a message that says event withdrawal confirmation. So you have the ability to go either way. Now, just to show that this HUD will work from anywhere grid-wide, we'll head over to another location in a different area. We'll go over to the Builder's Brewery. There we are. We'll get ourselves out into the build area. Get oriented right here. There we go. And we'll make sure that we're, again, connecting. And you'll see down here in the lower left, it now gives you the message that it's connected to the Event Staffing Board. So we can now look at our event list again, request an event list, and there we go. This is coming from the main board. And we can select a particular event. Again, we'll select this 1009. It'll show the square dancing event, and now the event that we can sign up for again if we want to sign up for the DJ role. Sign up. And there we got sign up confirmation. And so you can see everything works just fine from a different sim. Okay, so that pretty much covers the operation and setup of the Staff HUD. Thank you for tuning in to our channel and looking at our tutorials. And we'll see you in the next tutorial.